tread, an invisible trace is left behind. Showers of skin cells and bacteria create an odor trail as unique as a fingerprint. With a nose 1,000,000 times more sensitive than our own, a bloodhound can identify and follow this scent even after several days have passed. We have bred bloodhounds to enhance their sensitivity to human odors. The long ears and hanging lips are also designed to help trap smell. In all dogs and many other animals, this olfactory sense is used above all others. Even our own odors can have hidden influence. The salmon's sense of smell rivals the bloodhound's. After several years in the ocean, it now follows an odor trail with a unique significance. As rivers flow into the sea, they create a characteristic plume of fresh water that drifts for many kilometers. The salmon can remember the chemical identity of the river it left as a young smolt. By swimming up this current of scent, it can find the way back to its birthplace. Once in the river, the fish wait for the optimum conditions of flow and temperature before the smell leads them onwards. The trail will take them to the spawning grounds where they were born. Each genetic race of salmon returns to its own stream. Driven by instinct and locked onto this chemical signal, the fish will overcome the torrential obstacles. In air, odors carry even more readily than in water. Some birds that ride these air currents have recently been found to have a surprisingly acute sense of smell. The former covers great distances gliding effortlessly on uplifts of air. The same breezes carry with them the smell of food. The former's large tube nose is packed with sensory cells. It uses them to detect slicks of fish oil from many kilometers away. The same sense of smell will eventually guide the fulmar back to its nest, but it now takes it far out to sea. It joins other scavengers attracted by the odor of the trawler's fishy waste. Like fulmars, storm petrels also appear apparently miraculously wherever there is food. They spend most of their lives roaming the featureless ocean and rely on a tube nose to guide them to these unpredictable handouts. Beneath the surface are other surprises. The starfish is a hunter, but as it moves, it cannot avoid releasing an invisible signal into the water. Like all animals, it has its own characteristic smell. This reaches the breathing siphon of its prey. A spiny cockle reacts to the early warning. Triggered by the same scent, a scallop competes with a cockle's fancy footwork. An African impala reacts similarly to the smell of danger. The scent of a cheetah carries far on the breeze. To the topi and other antelopes, it signals danger. Surprisingly, hunting cats do not take account of wind direction when stalking prey and are often smelt before they're seen. The cheetah relies on speed to compensate. As the impala leap, glands on the ankles produce a smell of alarm. This communicates danger to the herd. Many antelopes and deer produce similar alarm scents when frightened. These chemical warnings are also common amongst insects. A wasp's nest is governed by many smells. One of these signals danger. The colony relies on workers to find a source of food. As the sting pumps venom, it releases the alarm signal. If the scent reaches the nest, it causes the wasps to react aggressively to the threat. Alarm scents of a different nature are found in North America. This striking black and white coat is in reality a warning signal, for the skunk possesses the ultimate chemical deterrent. Special anal glands create a cocktail of pungent odors. The effect is truly repellent. But smells can also be used to attract. The female Indian moon moth calls for a mate by emitting a scent. A sexual perfume is released from the tip of her abdomen and may reach males up to 5 kilometers away. His feathery antennae comb the air for her chemical traces. A single molecule is enough. He keeps on course by flying upwind, only crisscrossing the air current if he loses the trail. His antennae guide him to the hidden female. The mountain dusky salamander also tracks his mate by scent. But his courtship is far more bizarre. He uses Dracula-like teeth to lacerate the neck of the female. There is a subtler side to this violent courtship. The lacerations allow an aphrodisiac from a gland on his chin to pass into her bloodstream. The female now becomes a willing partner. As the male moves, she follows him, straddling his tail. The male then deposits a package containing sperm. As the male walks forward, the female follows until she's positioned over the package. Fertilization completes the courtship. Canadian red-sided garter snakes have equally strange courtship rituals. The females are courted by a whole entourage of smaller males. To stimulate her, they stroke their chins along her body. She attracts them with a scent exuded from between her scales. Males have a different smell to the females, but there are cunning exceptions. This male mimics the smell of the female and lures other males towards him with his deceptive odor. As they near a genuine courtship gathering, the fake female breaks away from his confused suitors. He joins the courtship frenzy, and his smell causes confusion to the males here too. This trick, which distracts rivals away from the real female, increases the imposter's chances of mating successfully with her. This bizarre story of chemical subterfuge evolved in the snake pits of Manitoba. In this glacial sinkhole, 10,000 snakes have been drawn out by the spring sunshine. They've wintered together in hibernation dens below the ground. The males are first to emerge, so when a female appears, she may be outnumbered 3,000 to 1. With this intense competition, a male that smells like a female gains a mating advantage over the other males. In the wide expanse of the African savanna, smells of identity have a special significance. A lion is aware of many smells, but none are more important than those of other lions. Each individual has a unique odor. As the lioness greets by head rubbing, she exchanges her scent with others and creates the odor of the pride. She recognizes her cubs by their individual odors. During the first few weeks, the cubs are kept separate from the males, but through contact with the females, they begin to acquire the pride odor. The smells are passed on by licking and head rubbing. The smell from the adult males is the most important ingredient of the pride odor. The cubs need to acquire this smell from the females before they can safely approach the males. A lion also uses smell to mark the pride's territory. He transfers his odor to vegetation by rubbing against it. The smell is then reinforced, leaving a musky reminder to other lions on how often this area of the territory is used. The Thompson's gazelle uses an eye gland to deposit his scent on grass. Over many days, thick deposits build up, leaving a pungent territorial signal to other gazelles. The topee has a similar gland and also uses it to anoint the vegetation. He then manipulates the grass stem as a paintbrush to daub the secretion onto his horns. When thoroughly covered by this secretion, he then transfers it to the ground, at the same time picking up the characteristic smells of the earth itself. In this area, dotted with scent marks, the male topee herds together a large number of females. These he has to protect from the attention of other males. A rival attempts to challenge. This intruder can recognize the defender by matching his smell to the scent marks he left on the ground. Even during a fight, the challenger will sniff the ground as if to check the identity of his opponent. Scent marks don't keep intruders out of the territory, but allow a challenger to assess the status of the owner. Using smell, the intruder can decide whether to challenge or simply pass by. Other smells of a social nature guided the construction of this natural chimney. It is the air conditioning system of the most complex of all insect societies. A continual updraft of air not only cools the interior, but also carries chemical messages to its occupants. These termite soldiers, both major and minor castes, are the defenders of the colony. Worker termites tend the nursery. The young can develop either into workers or soldiers. If many soldiers are killed, the decrease in the concentration of their smell causes more of the young to develop into this warrior caste. At the center of the community lies the queen. Without the influence of her odors, the society would disintegrate. Her bloated body is continually tended by workers. Totally immobile, this pulsating sac is an egg-producing machine. Every 10 seconds of her 30-year life, a new egg appears and is carried to the nursery by a worker. The destruction is caused by a mammal with an unparalleled sense of smell. The aardvark uses this heightened sense to sniff out hidden termites. As the workers repair the damage, they are guided by scent. saliva chemicals in the globules of mud attract others to the same spot. Within hours, the nest is rebuilt using smell as a guide. This miniature eruption is created by another social animal. Like termites, the naked mole rat's subterranean life is governed by smell. There are even different castes, including workers, soldiers, and nurses. The smaller workers do most of the digging. Their spade-like incisors are used to slice through the rock-hard earth as they search for nourishing roots. The colony also has larger soldiers as well as nurses that tend the young. Every mole rat visits the same latrine. Here, among the wet and pungent earth, the odor messages of the colony are passed on. Like termites, the mole rats are controlled by a single queen. Her odor suppresses breeding in other females. The mole rat's life is dominated by smell. But do such chemical messages have a significance in our own world? A dog can detect odors too subtle for us to notice. Even in our obsessively clean modern lives, some of these smells still emanate from us. Glands on our body produce a cocktail of 7 chemicals, resulting in a unique personal signature that a dog can use to identify its owner. House mice, too, have individual odors. When one mouse greets another, it sniffs along the whole body, assessing not only personal scent, but also status in the community. Whatever the size of the colony, only a small proportion of the females breed. The smell of these dominant females suppresses the breeding of others. These and other chemical messages are left on signaling posts created from dust and urine. Odors left by the dominant male have a profound influence on the colony, reminding young males of his priority over females and food. Intruders to the colony also use these scent posts to discover the identity of the dominant male. In an encounter, both the dominant male and the intruder use smell to identify each other. The intruder loses the battle and will know to avoid the victor's scent in future. cat is sensitive to many odors of which we are not consciously aware. As it rubs against our legs, it deposits a personal odor from cheek glands in the same way that lions mark other members of the pride. Although we are unaware of them, our own scents have hidden influence. The menstrual cycles of women who live communally eventually become synchronized. This is a result of smell messages working on the hormone system. Ironically, today we try to disguise our odor identities, replacing them with simulations of other animal scents. It seems that in our sterile and crowded lives, these odor messages from our biological past have become unacceptable to us. There are still other mysteries to discover in this intangible world of smell. Until recently, the olfactory sense of birds was thought to be poorly developed. It is now known that some populations of pigeons use smell as one of their navigational aids. The sea has a unique odor detectable even by us. To a pigeon, the smell of land is equally distinct. As the bird flies, odors from many different sources are wafted to it on the breeze. It's thought that a pigeon locates these sources of smell not only by flying through them, but by associating their position with winds from a particular direction. Using this knowledge, it can build up an odor map of the local area and use this in conjunction with information from other senses to find its way home. The most important smell of all is that emanating from the loft. On our next journey, Supersense explores different time worlds.